Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Hole. My name is Cole, and today we're doing another entry in my Best Albums of All Time series. These albums just blew me away, and really I'm just excited to share them and to talk about them with you guys. So today we're going to be going back to 1981, and we're talking about a band called the Psychedelic Furs, and they're mostly well known for their hit Pretty in Pink, which is on this album. Which was used in a famous John Hughes movie. But anyway, so the name of the album is Talk, Talk, Talk. It's my favorite album of theirs. It's kind of like new wavy, post-punk, college rock. It's really cool. But one important thing that I have to mention, so this album was released with two different versions. There was the UK version and the US version. And on the UK version, the album starts with Dumb Waiters, which is, for me, that's my least favorite song on the album. But the US version starts off with Pretty in Pink, which is just such an epic opener, in my opinion. It's a perfect opener. So I made a Spotify playlist containing the US track order for you guys, so I'll link it in the description. But anyway, so I'm really excited to talk about it. I've got some clips lined up as always of my favorite moments. So let's just dive right in. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? It's Pretty in Pink. It's such a pop culture song at this point, and for good reason. I mean, it's just the energy and the sounds of the guitar and just the whole thing as a package is just so wonderful. It's such a great pop song. But as I said, on the US version, it starts with Pretty in Pink, which, like, as far as I'm concerned, is like one of the best openers for any album. But I do have another clip from the song, which has to do with the lyrics, which are really interesting. So let's check them out. Yeah, Richard Butler just has such a distinct voice. Like, I don't know if he like smokes a lot or drinks whiskey a lot or whatever he does. He just has like a really raspy, unique voice, which you heard on this clip. But anyway, so these lyrics are kind of sad in the sense that, like, you know, here's this beautiful girl, and all she really wants is to be loved, you know. But she's kind of like, it sounds like she's really willing to, you know, put out, as they say. And all the boys in her school or college or wherever are just painfully aware of that fact. So it just seems like, you know, she's been sleeping around, but not because she's a slut. She's sleeping around because she's just really, like, she doesn't get it. She doesn't understand that the guys that she's trying to be in a relationship with just want to sleep with her, you know? So this poor woman, she just wants love, but all the guys in her life are just like total scumbags. But anyway, really, really good lyrics. But that's all I have to say about Pretty in Pink. You know, I mean, what more can you say about it? It's just such a good song. But track 2 is really interesting. It's called Mr. Jones, and he starts getting into some really philosophical lyrics, some social commentary, which I like. So let's check it out. Mr. Jones, you're beautiful, your eyes are made of glass. Looking through the window, you can see the world go past. Here's another 9 o'clock, and here So yeah, that's Mr. Jones, and I think this is a really sad song, but it's great social commentary, as I said, because, you know, it seems to be about a guy who is probably like a corporate guy. He spends, you know, his whole day, he gets there at 9, as he says, and he spends his whole day there working on whatever he's working on, and then he leaves. But he just has like no life. You know, he might be making a ton of money doing whatever it is, but it just seems like this guy has no life. And as Richard Butler says, you know, Mr. Jones, you're beautiful. Your eyes are made of glass, which is a really powerful line, in my opinion, because the way I interpret that is essentially this guy, it's kind of like living a soulless existence. And the eyes, traditionally, are the window to your soul. So when he says that your eyes are made of glass, I imagine when you look into Mr. Jones's eyes, you just see nothing, you know? He just has no soul, basically. You know, because as I said, he just spends his whole life working and making money, and that's just all he does. So I thought that was really interesting social commentary. I really like this song. Plus, it's just got a killer sound. So just a great song. But that's all I have to say about it. The next track, No Tears, it's just another winner for me. There's just so many winners on this album. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. But anyway, so let's check out No Tears.
There's conversation and conversation. Talk about yourself again. Talk about the rain again.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to these lyrics. I mean, in some sense, I consider this song as a companion piece to Mr. Jones, in the sense of, like, I imagine Mr. Jones is having this conversation, but as Richard Butler says, you know, there's conversation and then there's conversation. So, like, this guy's idea of conversation is like, oh yeah, this is what I did at work, and you know, wasn't it sunny today? Or like, oh man, it's gonna rain this weekend. You know, like, he just has nothing interesting to say at all. You know. And so I can relate to this. I mean, as I'm sure many of you can. But to be fair, you know, let's be fair. I've definitely been in situations, let's say at a party, where I'm really nervous, I'm really anxious, I'm really shy. And so, you know, like, on the spot, I'll admit that sometimes I can be a little bit like Mr. Jones here, and just, I'm not sure what to talk about. So I talk about myself. You know, I talk about stupid things like the weather. So, like, I'm going to give him a little bit of a break on this song. Just a little bit. But anyways, yeah, I like these lyrics a lot. Another great song. Unfortunately, in my opinion, though, so track 4 is Dumbwaiters. And for me, at least, if I'm being honest, this is my least favorite song. You know, it's not a bad song, but just as a whole, like, compared to the rest of the songs in the album, I just think it's a low point for me. So I'm not going to clip it. But again, it's totally fine. So I'm not going to say it's a bad song. But anyway, so we're going to skip Dumbwaiters and talk about track number 5, which is the last song on side A. It's called She Is Mine. Let's check it out.
I hope you get your invitation. It is here for you. Listen to the conversation, playing pretty tunes. Sorry, I can't wait for you. I couldn't stand to stay. You have to get right out of here. You have to get away.
So I I just love the sound of the song. It's so beautiful. And if I'm thinking about the lyrics correctly, it's another really sad song, because I imagine there's this guy who is getting married to some girl, but it sounds like he sent an invitation to an ex-lover that he, I guess, wants to still be friends with, but you know, it's a very fragile thing. It's a very, like, you know, sticky situation for most people, you know, and it sounds like this guy's ex is not really loving the situation in the sense that, like, I guess she decides that she can't be friends with this guy, you know, like she needs to forget this guy. So, you know, she's invited to this guy's wedding, and maybe she showed up, but she realizes during the wedding that, like, this is just too much for her, you know, and so she has to get away, as he says in the lyrics. So just a sad song. I mean, definitely pretty relatable. You know, I had a situation in my own life where I was invited to a wedding from an ex who, you know, was trying to, like, maintain friendship with me. So I went through a very similar kind of mental dilemma, so I can relate to this. But just a good song in general, you know, a lovely sound. But that's side A. And side B, you know, I've mentioned before that, like, side A is generally the best side on an album. But in my opinion, for this album in particular, side B takes the cake. Like, side B is just so good. There's not a dull moment to be found, in my opinion. You know, there's no dumb waiters moment. But anyway, so let's talk about track number 6, which is a pretty epic song called Into You Like a Train. Just a really intense song. So let's check it out.
I don't wanna take you down or shack you up with me, or put you where the flowers go and get into your mind. Into you like a train, into you like a train.
Oh my goodness, like, this guy is such a creep. I mean, I'm assuming I got the song correct lyrically, in the sense that, like, this guy is into this girl like a train. You know, it's called Into You Like a Train. And, you know, he's just, like, he's more than head over heels for this girl. He's, like, so into this girl that he's going to do anything to have her in his life, even if it comes down to, you know, as he says, I don't want to tape you down, or shack you up with me, and then something about, like, planting her in the garden, which literally I interpret is like he would be willing to murder this girl and bury her in his backyard just so that he has, like, some kind of weird ownership over her, if that makes sense. Like, this guy is a total creep and probably a psycho. You know, but he says, I don't want to do this, but if you don't just, you know, become my girlfriend and my wife, I'm probably going to kill you. Yeah, so geez, what a creep. But anyway, just sonically, it's a great start to side B. Just a really cool song, again. But track 7 is also really good. It goes on. So let's check it out.
If you say no just one more time, he's gonna thrash your wife. You have to have a lie to live or something to believe. He has a God, he calls it you. He has a highway too. Inside his head these wheels go round. He says that he loves you. It goes on and then it goes around again.
Yeah, so just another pretty creepy song, in a way. I mean, here's another guy. This time this guy is a closeted homosexual, it sounds like. And he's in love with this guy who's got a wife. And it just sounds like, this guy, his mind is in turmoil in the sense that, like, he's in love with this guy who won't leave his life. And just in general, I mean, we're talking about the early 80s. So, like, being a homosexual, or being an open homosexual at the time was still not exactly, like, super accepted. But this guy is just, like, he's just having a rough time. he's just not having a good time because he's just really in love. And there's nothing that can solve this problem for him, essentially. He's just in constant turmoil. So I'm not sure if this is like a companion piece to Into You Like a Train. Like, I don't know if this is the same character talking about, if he doesn't go with this guy, he's just gonna, like, kidnap him or murder him, like an Into You Like a Train. So I don't know if it's the same story. But anyway, another great song, sonically speaking, a really wonderful song. But that's all I really have to say about it. I do have a second clip, though, of just, like, a pretty amazing moment in the song, just, like, musicianship-wise, sonically, just a really cool part that I wanted to play. So I clipped it. So let's check it out. Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can say about the clip, really. I just wanted to play it just as an example of how beautifully recorded and played this album is on several different songs. Just this part, for me, was really good. It really stood out to me. But yeah, there's not much to say about it. So I'm going to skip to my last clip from the album, which is from track number 9, called I Want to Sleep With You, which is very, very similar to Pretty in Pink lyrically, but it's another excellent song, probably the best song on side B, in my opinion. So let's check it out.
It's making her see that I don't want you always, and I won't hold your hand. I won't give you flowers, I just wanna sleep with you. I just want to sleep with you.
Yeah, this poor woman. I mean, I'm kind of imagining it's the same woman from Pretty in Pink who's just completely clueless about men in general. Like, it just seems like, as in Pretty in Pink, she's attracted to these guys who are just playing the game. Like, they don't care. They don't, as he says, they don't want to hold her hand. They don't want to be with her always. They just want one night stands. But this girl, it sounds like she's willing to do a lot of sexual acts that maybe most girls would save for, like, a few months into the relationship or whatever. But this girl is just so desperate that she's willing to, he says, and she goes down like these flats, which I interpret as she's just being really easy, so to speak. So this poor woman, she's so clueless. But anyway, that's really the last song on the album that interested me, in terms of like something that was interesting to talk about. All of This and Nothing, the last song, is a good song, but nothing really stood out to me. So I'm just gonna let you guys discover it on your own and enjoy it, But yeah, so this is Talk Talk Talk. I believe it's their second album, again from 1981. It's just a really memorable, energetic album for me. It's definitely one of the best albums from the 80s as far as I'm concerned. This band is more than Pretty in Pink, because a lot of people really only know that song and maybe a couple other songs. But as far as I'm concerned, this album really demonstrates their songwriting ability and their ability to craft really good hooks and their ability to make really interesting guitar sounds and things like that. So I just hope that you guys like it, I hope that maybe at the very least I got you thinking about it a little bit more, lyrically or whatever. But anyway, so that's the Psychedelic Furs. Feel free to comment down below on whether you liked it or you didn't like it. If you thought Richard Butler's voice was kind of annoying, I could see that maybe being a thing. Feel free to say whatever you want down below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I like making these. It's a lot of fun. I just hope that you like the video or the album. But anyway, so yeah, check them out. And have a good one.